On today's Join Us in France, Paris on a budget of 150 euros per day for two people. This is Join Us in France, episode 141. Bonjour, I'm Annie, and today I'm doing a solo episode on visiting Paris on a budget. I'm going to give you all my tips to get the best value out of your dollar. It won't be a shoestring budget, but it's going to be around 152 euros per day for two people, which I think is really great. The shout out today goes out to Martha Sargent, who pledged to support the show on Patreon. Thank you so much, Martha, and all the other listeners who support the show on Patreon. You are making a huge difference, and I hope you know how much I appreciate your continued support. I haven't reached my goal of 1,000 euros per month yet, but you know what? Just knowing that there are lots of people, between 40 and 50, who support the show already is really encouraging, and I can see that new people join the Patreon support every week, and that's fantastic. Eventually, I'll get there, so this is great. To support the show on Patreon yourself, please visit patreon.com/join us. Patreon is Patreon, and join us is without any spaces. Thank you so much. Thank you for tipping your guide, Christina Long and Laura Lund. Very much appreciated. Laura also asked a question about Bordeaux, and I'm going to be responding to your question in a few episodes when the whole episode is going to be about Bordeaux. If you like this episode, you should also check out episode 80 about free museums in Paris. One thing to note though, Carnavalet is closed for renovations until sometime in 2018. But otherwise, there's still a bunch of free museums in Paris that you should check out because they are great. For show notes on this episode, go to joinusinfrance.com/141. Elise and I are going to lead a week-long tour in Paris between May 14th and May 21st, 2017. If you love France, culture, great food, and a lovely glass of wine now and then, and want to travel with us, take a look at addictedtofrance.com. We are delighted with the response we've gotten to this tour and look forward to meeting you in Paris. The tour is almost full, so don't delay too much. And I will soon add more dates, but as all things, it takes, we don't want to announce dates and then take them back and that sort of thing. So it'll come as soon as we're ready. You'll be the first to know. I am in Paris this week. I had taken the week off thinking I'd go enjoy the carnival in Catalonia. And then my elderly aunt, a favorite aunt of mine who lives in Paris, got really, really sick. And I decided to come say my goodbyes, but then she passed away. She was very unwell. She was very, very sick. She was old too. I'll be attending her funeral in a few days, and I thank you for your messages of support and condolences on the Join Us in France closed group on Facebook. That was really nice of you. But while I'm in Paris, I decided to visit lots of places, some that are new to me, some that are not. So let me just give you the rundown of what I did on these few days, because I've put a lot of that on the closed Facebook group, but there's lots of you who listen who never visit, so I want to share. So the first day I was here, I went to visit the Saint-Denis, the Basilica. It's it was way better than I expected. Lots to say about that. So I will do an episode about it at some point. The next day, I went to the Louvre, just outside the Louvre, the Tuileries, Place Vendôme, and the Orangerie Museum. Was my first time inside the Orangerie, and it was quite lovely. I will also do an episode about that walk at some point. The following day, I walked the Petite Ceinture Ferroviaire, and that's it's an abandoned train track that goes around, all the way around Paris. You can't, some parts of it, all of it is blocked off, but there are easy access points in various places, and there were lots of people walking it on a Sunday. But there are some places where they just put a big old gate and you can't go through. And so you have to, sometimes you have to just get in your car, drive a little further and get back on. We did some of that. It was very, very fun. It kind of felt like The Walking Dead a little bit at times because of the tunnels and the dark and the weather was a little overcast. Anyway, it was an interesting thing, and I will also do an episode about that at some point. The following day, I went to the beautiful, beautiful church of Saint-Sulpice and saw the Delacroix paintings. And I also saw this very interesting looking gnomon, is what it's called in French. It's Gnomon. And it's a thing to predict when Easter is going to come. It's an interesting church. It's a lovely, friendly, welcoming church. I had a good time visiting that. And after that, I had planned on going to the Grand Palais, and I got caught in the rain. It was rainy and really, really windy. And so even though the upper part of my body was well protected, my pants and shoes got completely soaked. So I gave up on the Grand Palais and came back to the hotel to get dry and changed. And then went out that afternoon, late afternoon, to go visit the Musée des Arts Forains, which I thought was fantastic. David Palachek, one of the listeners, and some other people had recommended it. It is so worth it. Now, the thing is, they don't have a lot of visits. Well, they don't have any visits that are completely in English because this is a really popular place for French people. So my group in February was 20 people, which is really, really good for something in the outskirts of Paris. And then today I'm going to go to Grand Palais, and then I'm not sure what else I'm going to do. But I'm sure putting out this podcast is going to take a few hours, so maybe I'll just have time to go to the Grand Palais. And after today, I have one more day that's not entirely family related, and then it's going to be the funeral and family things, and then I'm going to head home to Toulouse. And stay tuned after the closing song to hear a song I recorded on the Butte Chaumont from a couple of guys who were practicing their craft outside with some friends around them. They were very, very nice and very friendly. The guitar you can't hear very well, but I love the style and the jazzy kind of style and the way they sang. I just enjoyed it, so I thought I'd share it with you. All right, everybody. So maybe you're financially challenged at the moment, or maybe you're bringing your kids and you don't really want or need anything fancy. Maybe you're the kind of person, like me, I have to admit, who likes to feel like you got a great value for your dollar. Maybe it's a business trip and your boss is cheap. Who knows? No matter what your situation is, if you want to come to Paris without burning an irreparable hole into your bank account, this episode is for you. My idea of Paris on a budget is 150 euros per day for 2 people. I'm sure it is possible to do it even cheaper, but I can't help you there. I mean, I can't really tell you about couch surfing or hitchhiking or any of these things because I like to be comfortable and I like to be safe, and I'd rather spend a little bit of money. I don't really want to splurge on the fancy hotels with the beautiful marquees and the doorman and all that. That doesn't do anything for me. But I don't want to go too cheap either, So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you, a kind of no-nonsense, enjoyable vacation to Paris without breaking the bank. I've had a lot of friends over the years tell me, oh, I want to bring my granddaughter to Paris, or I want to come with with my new boyfriend or something. They're not ready for a honeymoon yet. They just want to come to Paris to have a good time. And maybe they don't want to be spending the kind of money you'd spend on a honeymoon. And if you come in with your grandkids, well, your grandkid is not going to remember that the hotel was the fanciest thing in the world. So long as they're comfortable and stuff, they'll be fine, So that's what I'm going to concentrate on. Now, I'm excluding airfare for obvious reasons, because that's a big, big ticket item for traveling. But I am including hotel, transportation, food, and entertainment. The airfare is an expensive part of any international vacation. Sometimes you get lucky. One of my friend's sons got such a good deal that he booked it on the spot. And he was probably right to book it on the spot, because sometimes you see that fare once and you'll never see it again. Just know that if you find a fare between the US or Canada and Paris for under $500, it's a really good fare and you should not let it pass. Typically, it's best to set up an airfare alert a long time before you want to come, a year or two before you want to come, and keep an eye on that. And know that typically, people say, I don't know how they study this, but people say that if you book 200 to 250 days before your planned travels, that's when you get the best rates. Whatever the case may be, if you go under 500 euros for your ticket, you're doing great. Big cities are expensive. I've stayed in London, and that was just horrendous. A tiny lunch in London will run you 30 or 40 pounds per person. It's ridiculous. The hotels in London are really expensive. The rooms are so small, you can't even put a kid in the room with you. It is just brutal. New York is really bad too. If you go to New York, you can't... Do they even have hotel rooms in New York for under $300 per night? Maybe they do, but I couldn't find them. So, by comparison, Paris is a bargain. Why is it that way? Well, because if you come at the right time and if you choose the right kind of hotel, those two factors alone will give you great bang for your buck. So, first thing, when should you come? My recommendation, there's about 20 weeks out of the year that are inexpensive, but you have to know when French school vacations are. And there's no point me telling you, because that changes every year. So what you need to do is Google French school vacation dates, and it will tell you. And if you see a bump in prices in the middle of January, well, it wouldn't be the middle of January, but if you at the end of February or something like that, or in March, it's because it's French school vacation time. So avoid those dates. But otherwise, if you travel after kids are back in school in France, so that's typically between the 3rd and the 6th of January, and up until the end of March, sometimes it's a little bit into April, all of those weeks, other than school vacation, and French kids get, I think it's 10 days of winter vacation, sometime in February, and maybe 2 weeks for Easter vacation. And those move all the time. They're moving targets. So just look at them for the year you're interested in and search around those dates. But between the beginning of January and up until the middle of April or so, that's low season. Same with all of November and the first half of December. Sometimes, surprisingly, August is not that expensive. It depends where you go, because so many people have just heard awful things about Paris in August, which is not true, by the way, other than it's hot and it's crowded. But you can sometimes get a good deal at certain weeks in August as well. Just plug in your dates, do the due diligence, and you will find something good. So that's the first thing you can control, is when you come. Second thing is, when you come to Paris, the most expensive thing that you're going to have to pay for is your hotel. Well, this is where you have to make a choice. And this is a choice that me and Elise have discussed over the months that we've been doing this podcast. She really wants to be in a family-run small hotel, and she likes charming little places. The trouble I have with it is that typically those charming little places are not really well maintained, and they're not spending the kind of money that they need to keep it comfortable. Case in point, I traveled between Toulouse and Paris, and I made a stop in Limoges. Limoges is not a very touristy city. It's okay, but nothing to write home about. It was a good place for me to stop because I wanted to go see Oradour-sur-Glane, and it's just in the middle, you know. Well, I decided, okay, I'm going to not do my usual, which is book a hotel with my favorite hotel chain in France. I'm just going to go find an independent hotel at a good price. I booked this hotel for 70 euros for the night. It was close to the train station, and I don't remember the name off the top of my head, and I will talk about that. I mean, I'll give it to you when I do an episode about Oradour-sur-Glane and Limoges. I will probably talk about it. But it was not a good hotel, okay? The guy was super friendly. The hotel was in this old building that used to be an hôtel particulier, so it was fancy, you know, tall ceilings, beautiful molding, blah, blah, blah. But the plug in the wall was coming off. The carpet smelled moldy. The bed was hard, like it was sleeping on a bench. I'm sorry, but for $70 a night, I could have had a really comfortable, clean, well-maintained hotel chain where I know what I'm getting into and I know what I'm going to get. And anyway, this is what I'm going to preach to you is if you want to come to Paris and find a charming little hotel that's well-maintained and that has good amenities, then be prepared to spend around at least 100 euros a night, even in low season, because it's impossible to make any money if you run a small hotel and you charge less than that. The reason why chain hotels can charge a little bit less is because a lot of them are not right in the center of Paris, but a little bit outside, just barely outside of Paris. Like the one where I'm staying now is Charenton-le-Pont, which is, I think, I don't know in terms of kilometers, but I could drive. Well, on Sunday morning, I drove to the center of Paris and I was there in 15 minutes. It's really close geographically, but you're in a different city. The bus, with all the stops that they make and everything, the bus takes me to the center of the city, to Saint-Michel, in 20 minutes to half an hour, depending on traffic. It's really close by. And that's how these hotel chains do this. They buy properties that are not right in the city, but fairly easy to get to. So Ibis is the one that I tend to book all the time. And Ibis has 3 levels of service. They have Ibis Budget, which is the cheapest one, and can be, it's not beautiful. I wouldn't call it beautiful, but it's functional. The cheapest Ibis Budget in the country has maintenance staff. You will never see plugs coming off the wall where you can electrocute yourself because, anyway. Don't get me started on that. So that's the lowest level, Ibis budget. Then you have Ibis, just Ibis, IBIS. And then you have Ibis styles on top. So Ibis budget, you will spend around 40 euros a night. It's your, I don't know, it's your, what's a comparable hotel chain in the US? The one where the ad said, we'll leave the light on for you. What was that? Oh, I'm sure you're screaming at your at your phone right now. Why can't you remember this? Everybody knows this. It's a budget hotel. It's not fancy, but it's clean and it's well maintained, which is not always the case when I've stayed at budget hotels in the US. They do a good job with those. It's just that the halls are bare, it's like linoleum and, nothing is fancy. Everything is simple, like the light fixtures and the curtains. Well, you get curtains, but they're beige, and nothing match. Well, no, things match in the room, but they're not. Yeah, it looks more like a clean dorm. Okay, let's put it that way, a clean dorm. And then you have Ibis, where they do a good job. The beds are super comfortable. The bathroom, I'll put some pictures, you'll see. The bathroom is small, but it's functional and everything works and it's clean. There's no odors. There's good ventilation. It's good. It's a good, and it's safe. The area is very, very safe. I really have no complaints, and I'll probably use this hotel again, and maybe again and again. The reason why I particularly like that one is because of its location. Like I said, I can get into the city if I want to drive in 15, 20 minutes. If I take the bus, it's more like 20 to 30, but there's a bus right at the bottom of the hotel. This tower, this building that the hotel is in, there's a mall. There's a whole mall in the basement. So there's a big grocery store, a big Carrefour grocery store. The mall has several restaurants, several phone stores, several hairdressers. It has dry cleaners. I don't know. It's a mall. It has all the types of things that you will find in a mall. And it's right underneath the hotel. It's super, super handy. This hotel also has a restaurant where they serve breakfast. Breakfast is extra. It's 8 euros, I think. It's your basic French breakfast. It's basic plus, let's put it this way. They have machines that will do all sorts of coffees and chocolates and stuff like that. Lattes, latte, they won't call it. Café au lait is what it is. It's not really a latte comparable to what you get at Starbucks, but it's a shot of espresso and a little bit of milk in it. You can add more milk if you wish. They have, let's see, I'm trying to think. They have all sorts of breads. They have butter. They have croissant and chocolatine. They have cut up fruit. They have yogurt. They have ham. They have some cheese, just 2 types of cheese. Oh, and they have an egg station. So they give you raw eggs, and you can plunge them. There's a little widget where you can plunge them into this boiling water, and you can get them out after 9 minutes if you want them hard-boiled, or a little sooner if you want them soft-boiled. Anyway, I've had an egg every morning. It's lovely. It's fine. So it's not a huge breakfast, but it's plenty. And I'm seeing what a lot of people do in those sorts of places is they make little sandwiches. So they'll make take a quarter of a baguette and put cheese and ham and saucisson in there. Saucisson is like the cured sausage that we have in France. And, you bite into that. It's good. It's very good. And you can have a pretty big breakfast for 8 euros. If you go have breakfast in the city, you'll get an espresso and a croissant for that much. So, if you want to have a big breakfast before you get going on your day, I think it's a good place to do it. The one thing that this hotel didn't do for me that I normally get at Ibis Styles is they wouldn't give me extra pillows because they didn't have any. But let me tell you, the previous hotel in Limoges didn't either. So, yeah. So what I did is I went to the grocery store and I found a couple of feather pillows on sale. They were like 12 euros for the 2 feather pillows. And I bought some covers for them. But if you were just going to leave the pillows behind, you wouldn't even need pillowcases. You could just, Anyway, there are ways you can deal with that. When you have a mall right underneath, if you need something a little extra for your comfort, the room came with 2 pillows. A pillow, it's a big bed, so it was 1 pillow per person. Not quite enough for me, but I'm sure lots of people can make do with that. Because of the way this hotel is set up, what I've been doing is I have my breakfast, then I go out, take the bus, which the bus stop is right underneath the hotel, right by the hotel. And then I have my lunch in the city, which I typically spend 20 euros for my lunch. I could spend a little less, but I like to have a nice sit-down lunch. And then when I come back at night, I stop by the grocery store and I buy, a banana and an apple and maybe some chips, whatever I feel like. And I could, you could get some wine, you could get whatever it is that you want. I've been gushing about how you find really good, inexpensive wine in France. There are bottles in this grocery store for $5. You get a really good selection of wines, So if you don't mind drinking your wine in your hotel room at night, why not? It works. So another thing that you need to be aware of is that budget hotels don't supply very much. There is no safe in this hotel. Like I said, no extra pillows. They give you one type of body wash, but that's it. So no washcloths. So if you want to bring your own toiletries, you can do that. If you want to buy the cheapest French toiletries you can find at the grocery store downstairs, you can do that too. Yeah, it's up to you, but just be aware that it's pretty basic when it comes to that sort of thing. Besides the fact that this particular Ibis, although it is nicer than average, I think even for an Ibis, doesn't supply very much in the way of toiletries. Well, they only supply body wash. That's it. The other thing you need to remember is bring everything you will need. So you have to pack really, really carefully if you don't want having to end up buying stuff that you have at home. So think through what you're going to need. For instance, a charging cable will run you 10 euros. An umbrella, 25 euros. A few Advils, 6 to 8 euros. Band-Aids are not cheap. Little things like that in France can cost you a lot of money. So if you go to the packing list, that's episode 137, you will find a really good list that will jog your memory, I think. That's what it's made for. So you remember all these little extras that you either don't want to take the time to go get or that you just don't want to spend the money. Everything is more expensive in France. Something that you'd pay $2 for in the US is probably going to be 5 or 6 or more here. So pack really, really carefully. And if you come at low season, which is mostly the colder, wetter months, remember to bring good rain protection. You need an excellent rain jacket. You need you probably need to pack at least 2 pairs of closed shoes, good walking shoes, because if the one gets soaked one day, you can have dry shoes the next day. You know what I mean? So think about these things in advance, because it's going to cost you money. If you have to buy a pair of sneakers in Paris, it'll be 100 euros. I kid you not. It's really hard. Well, if you go to the grocery store and you buy the grocery brand tennis shoes, it wouldn't be so much. But anything, branded will cost you 100 euros at least. So pack carefully. That's another one. The other thing you need to think about is to go to all those free museums that you have in Paris. Episode 80 was all about that. The only caveat there is that the Carnavalet is closed as I record this, and it's going to be closed until sometime in 2018. But all the other ones are open and they are fantastic. The other thing you can do in Paris that doesn't cost a lot of money is go enjoy the parks. We have wonderful parks. Well, at the end of this episode, I'm going to play you a song that I recorded at Butte-Chaumont. Just walking around Butte-Chaumont is so fun. You see all sorts of people. You hear music. You have nice views. There are things like that you can do that don't cost a penny, and you will have fun, and you will be out and about in Paris, which is, I don't know about you, but me, it makes me happy just being out and about in Paris. Another thing to consider is that the museum pass is expensive. It's 78 euros for 6 days. So it's really only worth it if you are going to see 2 museums per day. Most people recommend that you get the museum pass because it lets you skip one line, right? The line where you go buy your ticket, you get to skip that one, but you still have to go through the security line. At a place like the Louvre, for instance, they have 4 lines to enter. The biggest one with the most people, even in February, there's at least a couple hundred people there at any time, is for people who don't have a ticket at all, and obviously they haven't gone through security. That's the big line. The second line, which has maybe, 100 people or so, half probably, is the line for people who have a ticket, but it's just one of those museum pass tickets. So that saves you a little time, but the one that really saves you a lot of time is if you have bought a timed ticket. Online, you can just buy, instead of buying the museum pass, just decide we'll be going to the Louvre on Thursday morning, for instance. And you buy your ticket and you're like, we'll drag ourselves out of bed and we'll be there by 10 or whatever it is that you decide. And buy your ticket for that time. I swear to you, the line, you will have a few people in front of you probably, but it's really not bad. And of course, the one place where there is 0 line whatsoever is the place where you enter with a certified guide, like somebody like Elise. When she plans a tour, she will arrange this ahead of time, and so you just walk right in with your guide. But that costs money, right? So what I recommend is go to the free museums, go to the parks, walk around the city, enjoy the Seine River, do all of these things that make Paris so nice, even if you just get out. Some of the metro stations are fun. I don't know, the Louvre one, Louvre Rivoli. You have all these statues, these replicas of statues. You can do silly pictures in front of them. Just enjoy all of these things that don't cost any money at all. Before you go out and just do the free stuff. Of course, I'm telling you not to get the museum pass, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't pay for any museum, as far as I'm concerned. Louvre, I think, is 12 euros. I went to Saint-Denis. This time it was 9 euros or maybe 9.5 euros. I got a free guided tour. It was fantastic. It was just you have to show up at the right time to get the tour guide, because they had one in the morning. I think in the morning they do one in English, and in the afternoon they do one in French at Saint-Denis. But every venue will do things a little bit differently. So decide on 1 or 2 museums that you want to pay for, and reserve a timed ticket for those. And then you won't have the line, and it won't cost you the cost of a museum pass. Because really, I think that's outrageous. 78 for 6 days. You know, museums in Paris are not that expensive. It's not like New York. Again, New York, to get into anything is $30. In Paris, it's generally 9 euros, 10 euros maybe. So, take that into consideration. Okay, transportation pass. This is something that can be debated, but in my experience, it's not worth it. Because most of the time in Paris, it's a compact city. Once you're in the city, which for me is one bus ticket. That's it. I walk the rest of the way around Paris, and then I use the second ticket to get back. Well, 2 tickets, even if I pay full price, it's €1.90 full price if I just pay the driver. Okay, so I'm going to spend $3.80 on transportation. The cheapest pass for the day is 19 or something like that. And of course, yeah, the pass will let you go anywhere you want to go. But in a day, realistically, you don't have time to go all over the creation. You're just going to be, plan your day. So, on that day, I will do this and this. There you go. Then you're set. Now, there are some tricks that you need to know about the Paris transportation system. And I will do a separate episode right after this one to tell you about those. But generally speaking, just buy a pack of 10 metro tickets. Full price is €16. It's the same ticket. You use the same tickets in Paris to get on the metro or on the bus. Okay? And you will probably never use more than 4 tickets in a day. So why buy a pass? You really don't need it. One thing that you do need, and I'm not including it in my 150 per day, is you need phone data. And I recommend you get that at home with your carrier, because it's possible to do it here, but it's some headaches and it's stuff that will take some time. So I wouldn't mess with it. I would just go the easy route there. And just whoever your carrier is in the US, they probably have an international data plan that will get you everything you need. And the reason why you need data is because I'm going to recommend that you use the RATP. RATP is the name of the transportation company in Paris. And they have this really good app that tells you all about buses and metros and all the transportation things. As soon as you arrive in Paris, well, even you could do it even before. You say, I want to go from this address to this address. And it will find you several ways to do this. And sometimes it will recommend, let's put it this way. It will always put on the very top the fastest way. Sometimes the fastest way is to take the bus for a few minutes and then a metro for a few minutes and then transfer to a different metro for a few minutes. And when it gets complicated like that, I don't want to see it. I would rather take one bus and then walk for 15 minutes, right? Than just take a bus and then a metro and then transfer. And it could be faster theoretically if you don't get lost, if you find your way around the station, if your knees don't give out because of all the stairs you're going to have to climb in the metro. So watch out when you use this app. Look at all the options. Don't just pick the first one, because sometimes the second or third or fourth one down, yes, it's 10 minutes extra, but it's much simpler to implement. All right, so the last thing I'm going to tell you about that you need to be careful about so you don't waste your money and so you keep so you have fun in Paris for under 150 per day is don't get robbed. Don't get ripped off. Okay? And this is so simple. I will give you the rundown very quickly. First of all, you need to plan your pockets. Before you leave home, when you're selecting which coat or jacket you want to bring to Paris, think about where you are going to safely store your phone. Where are you going to store your credit cards? Okay? These are the two things that you need to have on you. Probably, most likely. You might have other things, I don't know. But these are two things everybody needs. So think about it. what pockets am I going to use? Train yourself to always put your phone in the same pocket. Always put your credit cards in the same pocket. That way, it's quick. You don't have to fumble around and get everything out of your pockets to just find your one thing. You know where you've put it. And you really don't need a fancy travel pack with titanium lining or whatever else they're going to invent. What you need is you need to zip up your pockets. Zip them up. That's it. Your raincoat probably has zippers. Just zip up the pockets. Nobody will get your stuff. They're not that fancy. They're always looking for the low-hanging fruit and the stupid tourist who just walks around Paris with everything agape. And I see them all the time. I'm like, oh, please. Like, just zip it up. It's easy, okay? The other thing you need to know is do not talk to anybody with a clipboard, okay? Don't fall for their thing like, you don't want to talk to me? What's wrong? Paris isn't nice. Just walk on. Don't talk to these people. They're not your friend. You don't owe them anything. You don't even owe them to say a word. You don't have to excuse yourself. You don't need to be apologetic. All they want is they want to part you with your money, okay? So don't talk to them. The other day, I exited the metro at Louvre-Rivoli. By the time I was by the Pyramide du Louvre, so that's probably what, 200 meters, maybe 300 meters? 6 of them had stopped me. 6 bogus. Oh, let me tell you about the plight of little girls in Africa, or sign my petition to stop female genital mutilation, or whatever they're going to come up that day. It doesn't matter. It's all crock. Okay? So don't talk to these people. Just don't. Walk off. You need to be very careful when it's tight quarters. If you're standing in line, there are people touching you. Tight quarters, your phone and your wallet need to be in your hands. In your hands, nowhere else. Because they will bump you and they will take away your wallet and you will not realize anything's happened until the next time you need your wallet. So in tight quarters, have your stuff in your hands. Your camera should be, if you bring a camera separate from your phone, it should be around your neck. And if you have expensive camera equipment, which I do, I walk around Paris with very expensive camera equipment all the time. I have it in a secure backpack that closes, the zipper is up against my back. So there is a zipper on the outside, but that's only, cloth to clean the lenses and, my selfie stick and stuff like that. It's nothing that I mean, if they take that, I'm going to be annoyed, but it's not the end of the world. But they can't get to the equipment, right? And be very discreet. When I change my lenses or whatever, I just find the little corner where nobody's around. And I don't want to parade around the fact that I have an expensive zoom lens, okay? You also have to be very careful of the size of the backpacks that you bring to get into museums and such. These places don't, because of terrorism, they do not want you walking in with anything big. And be prepared to, if you have a backpack or a purse, be prepared to open it as you enter every venue pretty much. Even grocery stores will look in because they are worried about people, getting in with weapons. So if you have, my backpack is probably, the backpack that I carry with all my camera equipment is probably, think about the carry-on size for Europe, which, well, that's not going to help you. It's probably no bigger than 40 centimeters by 20 centimeters. and it's probably 15 thick. So I pack my stuff in really, really tightly, and I've been able to get in everything with that bag, but be careful. So this is it. This is the secret. Let me summarize. 1, come at the right time. Come in low season. 2, once in Paris. 2, pick your hotel wisely. If you want charm and quaint, you will pay a lot more money than a standard chain hotel room. But you know what? If you're here on your honeymoon, I understand that you want the charm and the beauty. But if you're here with your grandkid, then I really don't see the point. So it just depends why you're coming to Paris, okay? So the hotel chain I like is the Ibis chain. They have all sorts of levels. Some of them are not that convenient to get to, so I really love the one where I am, the Charenton-le-Pont. Look on the show notes. I will give you a link to that one. If you can get that one, I can guarantee you that is a phenomenal location. It's all good. The other thing is to save money, have a big hotel breakfast, have a nice lunch out, but no wine at lunch. And if you when you get back to the hotel, you can have some snacks and you can have some wine and a light dinner in your hotel room after you've had all your fun in Paris. Pack very carefully so you avoid having to buy more stuff when you arrive, because stuff is expensive in France. Remember that budget hotels do not supply very many amenities, so no safe, no extra pillows. You won't get very, soaps, washcloths, that sort of thing. Bring it with you. Enjoy the free museums and the free parks and that sort of thing. Do not buy a museum pass. It's expensive. But you should, if you wish, choose 1 or 2 or 3 or however many. But choose some museums that you want to pay for. But choose a timed visit ticket so that you get in quickly. The transportation pass is not worth it for most people. You can buy a pack of 10 tickets, and if you do it my way, which is going to the city after breakfast, stay in there till your legs can't carry you anymore, and then come back and have a snack in your hotel, then you only need 2 tickets, maybe 4. Let's be extravagant, but that's still cheaper than a transportation pass. Make sure you have cell phone data before you come, and be very aware of the fact that you need to keep your belongings safe. And by safe, I don't mean that you need to carry a gun and a knife. I just mean you need to zip up your pockets. That's it. Enjoy Paris, everybody. It's a lovely town. The weather made me... the weather got me drenched one afternoon, but I survived, got home, well, not home, but got to my hotel, got warm again, changed, and left again. No big deal. Sometimes the weather is bad, but it doesn't usually last that long. It's unusual to have, rainy day after day after day after day. That's unusual in Paris, even in the winter. So with a little luck, you'll choose a week when the weather is nice to all of us. All right, that's it for today. Goodbye, everybody. Au revoir. Thanks for listening to the show. To find out about tours offered by Elise and I, visit addictedtofrance.com. Please subscribe to the Join Us in France email list. It only goes out about once a month, but it is where you'll find out about our most recent episodes, and you'll also be the first to hear about promos we are running on the tours and anything else new we're cooking up. I invite you to look up the Join Us in France closed group on Facebook, a great place for folks who know a ton about France, exchange tips with those who are just starting to look into visiting France. À bientôt!
Quand vous voulez.
Où est passée Marie? Elle est partie. Tu me manques Marie. Il est minuit. Elle n'est pas dans la chapelle. Oh non, me serait-elle infidèle? Un fidèle ami m'a dit qu'elle est au ciel avec le petit Jésus. Elle s'est pas fait prier. C'est la vie, moi j'ai compris. Je ne mérite pas le paradis. J'ai cherché dans la poubelle, escaladé la tour de Babel. Et au bout du compte, c'est avec Jada. Je passe une nuit de folie. Où est passée Marie? Elle est partie. Tu me manques Marie. Il est minuit. Elle n'est pas dans la chapelle. Oh non, serait-elle infidèle? Un fidèle ami m'a dit qu'elle est au ciel avec le petit Jésus-Christ. Elle s'est pas fait briller. C'est la vie, moi j'ai compris. Je ne mérite pas le paradis. J'ai cherché dans la poubelle, escaladé la tour de Babel. Et au bout du compte, c'est avec Jada que je passe une nuit de folie.
Dommage, il n'y avait pas la guitare.
Ouais.